Hey friends, hey, before we get started, I have exciting news. The Black Women Stitch 12 Days of Patreon kicks off December 1st. Every paid patron gets daily exclusive goodies, tutorials, guides, printables, playlists, all made to fuel your creativity. Patreon is how we keep this podcast going. And right now we're sitting at about 50% of what we need to sustain the work. If you love this show, this is the perfect time to jump in and support. Join today and unwrap 12 straight days of creative joy. Go to patreon.com/blackwomenstitch. And thank you for helping us get our stitch together.
Hello, Stitchers. Welcome to Stitch Please, the official podcast of Black Women Stitch, the sewing group where Black Lives Matter. I'm your host, Lisa Woolfork. I'm a fourth-generation sewing enthusiast with more than 20 years of sewing experience. I am looking forward to today's conversation, so sit back, relax, and get ready to get your stitch together.
Hey friends, hey, welcome back for another episode of Stitch Please Holiday Swatch. I am so excited to hear more from the Stitch Please community this week. Here's another holiday tradition that I started doing to bring my sewing into the holidays. One of the things I love to make, of course, is gifts for the holidays and gifts for my family. And one of the fun things I like to make are pajamas. I think having pajamas and getting them new around the holidays, our family celebrates Christmas. And so getting some new pajamas right around there is really a nice kind of way to celebrate right away, because it's like making leisure wear. Because for the most part, when the kids are at home, we just kind of sit around and just lounge around and enjoy each other's company, or enjoy each other's company by being separate, as somebody's in one room and someone's in another, but it's all under the same roof of love. And I just love it so much. So making pajamas is something that I will do around the holidays. Doesn't necessarily have to be like, holiday theme necessarily, but it is a type of kind of typical gift that I make around the holidays, so that the kids and my spouse might expect that they're going to get some new PJs in December. So with that in mind, that's something that I've done pretty much every year. We're going to turn to more folks from the Stitch Please community to hear what things they do to make the holidays special, bringing in their sewing and creative energies. And thanks again for being with us today.
Greetings to all who are joining us today on the Stitch Please podcast. My name is Martha, also known as Garichao. If you follow me on social media, one should expect to see a little bit of everything. My family, my travels, my life, but most of all, my journey as a curvy sewist. I'm honored to be sharing with you some of the holiday traditions that we partake in our Garifuna Trinidad home. A little bit about myself. I am a Garifuna woman born in New York City. My parents migrated to the United States from Livingston, Guatemala, Central America. My husband is from Trinidad and Tobago, and we are raising 2 children here in Maryland. Garifuna people are the descendants of indigenous Arawak and Africans who inhabited the island of St. Vincent until we were exiled by the British in 1797. My ancestors survived the attempted genocide and created settlements along the coasts of Honduras, Guatemala, Belize, Nicaragua, and can still be found in parts of St. Vincent. When Lisa reached out to me about the series, I had to admit that I had to do a little double take, because the holidays seemed to have snuck up on me. It was just January, like 2 months ago. I'm convinced. Like a whole year has passed by, and I'm just not ready to accept that fact. The blessing is that my daughter jumps into the holiday spirit with both feet, starting on Thanksgiving week, because it usually falls around the same time we're celebrating Garifuna Settlement Day in Livingston, which is November 26th. This is a day we celebrate the survival of culture and people, and we find ways to honor our ancestors. We truly carry this high energy with us pretty much until the new year begins. So we've already started the festivities way before Christmas. And so by the time Christmas comes, I feel like, okay, we're here. The energy is just bubbling and we're at an ultimate high. It's really one of my favorite times to spend back home because there truly is no words that can describe Christmas morning in Livingston. Growing up, I had the pleasure of being in my grandmother's house, which is right by the beach. So it's having a front seat to the start of the festivities, which begin at the break of dawn. Traditionally, what happens is that there's a reenactment of how our ancestors came to the island. And so what happens is that there are canoes that go out way before everybody gets up. So in the morning, as dawn is coming upon us, the entire Garifuna community is finding their way to the beach in their traditional clothing and singing, joyful, calling out for the canoe to come back. And the canoe has our traditional dancers and drummers, and they're in the canoe doing a call and response. It is so beautiful to witness. And it is something that I always cherish the memory, because the first time I remember being able to go for Christmas, I was already in my late teens, but I already knew what to expect because of how my parents had prepared me, here in the United States. Even though we were, not able to go for Christmas every year, my mom and my dad made sure to tell me and share their memories of what it was growing up and what those experiences were, that I was able to just attach my own experiences to theirs and grow it even more. And so I do the same thing with my children. And so, and continue the traditional oral tradition, I tell them of the story of the first time of seeing the canoes making their way back from the sea, bringing in the drummers and the singers to meet those of us who are impatiently waiting on the beach. And my kids are like, this is what happens? So I already know that now they're curious, so that when the day does come in which we'll be able to do that it won't be strange to them, because they know that that was my experience. Trying to figure out what my favorite aspect of our tradition is kind of hard, because I love it all. There's nothing that I don't love about being Garifuna, and so therefore is trying to think of, okay, what is it that I, what about Christmas? What is it that is so Garifuna during Christmas? And I must say, it's got to be seeing the group of Wanaragu dancers making their way through the crowd. Wanaragua, more commonly known, I guess, in the diaspora as Jonkunu or Mascaro. Mascaro meaning mask in Spanish, is a warrior dance. And so therefore it speaks to my spirit. I don't know what it is, but I tell you, I feel like it's who I am, and it speaks to me in a way, the drumming, the dancing, the boldness of the colors and the costume, is also the story that's behind it. It's not just the dance. According to Garifuna tradition, shared generation through generation, told to me by my grandmother, told to me by my parents, and as I share those stories with my children, the Wanaragu dance is a reenactment of when we were fighting the British in St. Vincent, and our one of our known Garifuna chief, known to all as Chatuye, developed a strategy where the men would disguise themselves in the women's clothing in an effort to trick the British into thinking that the village was unprotected. This is war. This is a strategy of war. And so before the British realized what was happening, the Garifuna warriors overpowered them and won the battle that day. And so today when we dance Wanaragu, that's what that is a celebration and a reminder of the time that the Garifuna tricked the British and won.
You're listening to the Stitch Please podcast and the special edition episodes about stitching holiday traditions. We'll return to the story after this break. Hey friends, it's Lisa from Black Women Stitch and the Stitch Please podcast. And do you want to stay in the loop with everything Black Women Stitch? Sure you do. So our weekly newsletter is where it's at. You'll get podcast updates, community news, behind the scenes peeks, and ways to support the work we're doing. Whether you're a longtime listener or just getting to know us, this is the easiest way to stay connected. So click the link and sign up today. Promise we will not flood your inbox, just your creative spirit. Thanks so much. See you soon. And now we'll return to stitching holiday traditions. Thanks for listening.
Today the dances typically done by the men, but I've seen some amazing female dancers hold their own, and not just in the dancer, but even in the drumming. And I love to see it all. The costume it consists of a very big feathered headdress, very colorful. It looks like a crown. And then the dancers also wear this painted wire face mask. I used to always laugh because the face mask is funny to me, because the face mask looks like a person with a very sharp nose. That's how they paint the mask. A person with a very sharp nose and a mustache and stuff. And I was like, well, they must have thought that our women were ugly or something, because why does this mask look like this? But, is the play on that, is the trickery, that speaks to me. And then if you look at what the dancer is wearing, it pays an homage to many of our traditional Garifuna clothing. So if you look at Garifuna clothing, we typically favor gingham or checkered fabric. And so the Wanadago dancer has head tie, because we also wear a lot of headscarves. Traditionally, the elder women of the town usually have their head wrap, in their head wraps and stuff like that for our traditional dances. And this is what the men do too. So because again, they are in costume, is a trick. And one of the biggest distinguishing, elements of the Wanadago dancer is this rattle. It's a tie that they add to their knees so that it makes a sound. It's made with cowrie shells, and it makes a sound every time they dance, because the dance is very elaborate. It's one of our most elaborate dances in our Garifuna tradition, and is a play with the drums and the song, and then also the sound of the shells as they do this really expressive dance. I encourage everyone who's listening to go on the internet, go on YouTube, and seek out and look at this dance. You'll see that it's done not just by the Garifuna people. It's so African in nature that Bahamas does it. They have a Jankunu festival. There's competitions in Belize. You'll see many costumes, and there's so many videos out there. It's really just a joy to see. It's just so bright. I think that maybe that's the reason why I love wearing bright colors. It is truly inspired by the culture. My sewing always takes and leads to the bold. That's what speaks to me. That bold fabric, the colorful fabric. I'm truly credit that to a lot of the Garifuna traditional wears that we do, and the dances, and how expressive it is. And so therefore I can't help myself, right? Isn't that what makes me who I am? And so I feel like that is what influences me and influences my sewing. And these traditional ways just speak to me in a way that's what I kind of tend to lead to. And so, before kids and school schedules and full-fledged adulting, I used to be in Guatemala from settlement day until at least after Christmas, just so that I can really enjoy and partake. And so one of the things is, how do I then do that while I'm here in the United States? Because I can't make it to Guatemala every Christmas, even though I try. That's why it's important, and it empowers me to introduce many of these aspects of my Garifuna traditions to our children during the holidays. So the kids already know that this is the season, that the YouTube playlist is basically set to all videos from home to keep them familiar to the streets that they played on when they have had the chance to go back to Guatemala and visit my mom and dad. Even blasting my traditional Garifuna music while I'm sewing, so it doesn't sound foreign to their ears when they finally do make it back home. Speaking it into existence, next Christmas, we're going to be over there. So these are some of the things that we do in our home. My crafting room is always full of good intentions during the holiday season, but I decided long ago not to engage in making presents for anyone. It does me no good. I'm not here for that kind of pressure, but it is the time that I am most inspired to pull out my gingham fabric, my madras fabric, any of my plaids, any of my checkered fabric, because I'm already in the mood and in that mode in which I'm thinking, what would this look like? Let me get ready for Christmas, because that is what I see. This is what I grew up with. And so I want my children to see that. My children know this is the time that mommy really is in the culture. We're going to wear traditional. This is where you're going to see mommy wearing her head wrap. They're going to see mommy wearing her traditional clothing. This is how we celebrate it. Is the reason why it's very important that during the Christmas holiday, another aspect is the parranda. You'll see, I'll play it, and we make sure that if there's a show nearby that I'm taking the kids. Like if any Garifuna shows or events are happening in the area, we usually do have a community here that have done in the past what shows. So you'll see some of our traditional dances, especially the wanaragu, the punta, the parranda. So in order to, especially they come during the holiday season. So I'm hoping that we're in a set of new times, but I'm hoping that this year that they'll come back so that I can take the kids. But this is how we celebrate. This is the energy that comes in our home. And so I thank you for taking the time to just listen and, learn a little something new. And so from my house to yours, I'd like to wish you a happy holiday to each and every one of you who are listening today. Sending light and love, Martha.
Thank y'all so much for taking the time to be with us today. I cannot wait to see what you make this holiday season. Don't forget to tag us at Black Women Stitch and use our hashtag Stitch Please Holiday Swatch and Stitch Please Swatch.
You've been listening to Stitch Please, the official podcast of Black Women Stitch, the sewing group where Black Lives Matter. We appreciate you joining us this week and every week for stories that center Black women, girls, and femmes in sewing. We invite you to join the Black Women Stitch Patreon community with giving levels beginning at $5 a month. Your contributions help us bring the Stitch Please podcast to you every week. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. And come back next week and we'll help you get your stitch together.